got the Clio back from the MOT and it failed, but not on anything serious. Front wiper blades, headlamp alignment, and inefficiency in the rear brakes. So I'm just going to take the drums off and have a look at the rear brakes and see if I can see what the problem is. I've had the brake drum off the other side of the car, and I found that while there's plenty of friction material, it is rather glazed, which I suppose, ooh, these are tight, which I suppose as it's been used as a car for 2 young girls to learn to drive in is probably not all that surprising. The brakes haven't had much of a hammering. What I also found was that the back plates were really quite rusty, and where the brake shoe moves on the back plate, well, it wasn't doing really. So I've cleaned all of that up, put a bit of copper slip on the back of the shoes where they contact with the back plate, and generally given it all a good clean, given the surface of the brake shoes a rub with some emery and the inside of the drum a rub with some emery paper, and I think that's made an improvement to it. So I'm going to do the same with this side now. The hub nut, which is behind this little cover, that just needs a gentle prising off. You can see the hub nut. Now that is 30mm, takes a 30mm socket, but it's not a very good fit, I found. So what I've done on the other side was to use an imperial socket, which is 1 3/16 AF, and that's a slightly tighter fit. Can't really explain that because there's no way this can be imperial, obviously because it's a French car. But as I say, it fits a lot better. And this hub nut's done up to 160, I think, 160 Newton meters. So it's very tight. And I had a hell of a job getting it off the other side, so here we go again with this side. That's got it. So there's the hub nut out. It's a nylock, as I say, 30mm. It does say in the manual that you're supposed to replace these, but I think I'm just going to put a bit of Loctite on when I put it back on. And this one doesn't have it, but the other side certainly had some Loctite on when I took it off, which might explain the difficulty I had in getting it off. But before I go any further with all of that, there's a circlip in here, which you probably can't see, but it's just inside there, which I need to wiggle out before I go any further. That's the circlip. Now I don't have any circlip pliers, or if I have I can't find them, so with the experience of taking the one out on the other side, which took me about half an hour, I've done this one in just a minute with these tools, pair of long nose pliers to grab hold of it. One side hooked it with these two I don't know what you call them, trim tools I suppose, or hose tools, points on the ends, hooked one and a straight one, and a flat blade screwdriver. That seems to do the trick. So that's the circlip out, and I can now withdraw the hub and the brake drum together, which I'm going to use a puller for, but first of all I just need to take the handbrake off. Okay, I'm ready to get the brake drum and hub off, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a tap first. It's a copper hammer. Just in case anything's sticking, and it might help. And I've got this this puller. Now I've got a box full of different pullers, and this one just happened to be the right size, so I'm going to put that on there with two of the wheel bolts. Just put those in finger tight, and the central bolt in finger tight, and that's tight now. And I can now wind that out with a 90mm socket. And that's the brake drum off with the hub in the centre there. I've given the inside of the brake drum a clean with an old paintbrush and some emery paper, and I'm just going to clean the inside of the brake assembly in the same way as best I can. Wherever you read anything in any of the manuals or instructions about brakes, it always tells you not to use an airline to blow the dust out because of the potential asbestos content in the dust. So I'm not doing that, and I'm also wearing, you can't see me, I'm also wearing a dust mask, so I don't inhale any of this dust. It's probably about as good as that gets. I've also got some aerosol brake cleaner, so I'll give it a squirt, wash all that out. That's the end of that can, that's lucky. Doesn't take very long to dry. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is just rough up the outside surface of the brake pads, of the brake shoes, with a bit of emery paper, emery cloth. Just take the glazing off them. And just dust that off. I think I can make a slightly better job of that top edge there. Yeah, that's better. Now what I found on the offside of the car was that in here, and here, and here, and here, where the brake shoe contacts with the back plate, it was really rusty. It's a bit rusty on this side, but it's nothing like as bad. What I managed to do was get a screwdriver in there, using two screwdrivers, and just give that a bit of a scraping. I've managed to scrape out most of the rust and dirt from these pinch points, if you like. So the next thing I'm going to do is put a very small amount of copper slip into those areas. Just put that in the top of there, and in the top of there. Oops. Just going to get that bit up. I'll pull the shoe slightly away so that I can work the copper slip in behind it. Same there. And I'll do the same at the bottom. I'm also applying a bit of copper slip to the springs, handbrake mechanism there on the bottom. That's copper slip on the back plate and on the springs, and wipes off anywhere that it shouldn't be. So I'm just now going to operate the handbrake just to get the shoes moving around a little bit. And hopefully that'll push the copper slip around inside with the freedom to move the brake shoes without the drum stopping them. One last thing I'm going to do is give the shoes a gentle tap each of their corners. And that should make sure that all of those surfaces that are prone to corrosion have had a bit of movement over them and a bit of copper slip. And I'm now going to go ahead and refit the cleaned up brake drum. Okay, that's on. I've already cleaned up the circlip, so I'm going to pop that in. And now to refit the hub nut, I'm going to put some Loctite on the thread. I've already cleaned up the inside of the thread on the nut. I'm going to torque that up to 160 Newton meters. There it goes. I've applied the handbrake repeatedly, about 10 or 20 times, and that should hopefully have let the brake shoes find their position inside the drum, and well, that certainly seems okay. So time to put the road wheel back on. Torque for the wheel nuts is 90 Newton meters, but I've actually used this extension bar because I can't get my torque wrench in because of the bodywork, so I'm torquing them up to 100. Job done. Just realised I forgot to put the little cover on the brake drum, so I'll pop that on now. A little tap with my hide mallet. Okay, that is job done. Right then, next thing on the list is the windscreen wipers. I'm going to replace all 3 of those. I'm not going to bother making a video about that. That's a pretty straightforward job to do. So I'm going to get on with that. So the final job is the headlamp alignment, and it's a bit wobbly, I'm afraid. Just trying to look down behind the headlamp. There's the adjuster for side to side movement of the headlamp unit. That's a square peg that presumably you rotate. Ooh, that's the light falling over. I'm not overly concerned with that, as I only need to adjust the up and down movement. And in this hole here in the top of the headlamp is a green plastic nut, and that takes a 6mm socket. So I'm going to try and adjust that one, and hopefully I can get the headlights close enough for the MOT. And then after that I'll take them to the garage and get them set up on a Magic Eye machine. So I've got the car parked about 2 metres from the shed door, and I can see that the driver's side headlamp is lower than the passenger side. They're both pretty low, so I'm going to have a go. How easy this is to see. I'm going to have a go at adjusting that up and see what happens. Ah, that's right at the top of its travel, I think. Try winding it the other way. Oh no, tell a lie. It's gone up slightly. It's not gone up far enough though, I don't think. I think I might have to move the headlamp. Let's have a look at the other side. Find the adjuster. Change hands. It's going down. Right. That's also at the top of its travel. That's not good. I did notice though, I don't know whether I can show this, those bolts there, I noticed that they're, see if I can bounce a bit of light on, there we go. Those bolts go into slotted holes, And there's a bit of room for manoeuvring those, so I might try and slacken those off, see if I can push the headlamps back. Back in a second. Something not right about the alignment of these replacement headlamp units. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I do know that in order to get the headlamp unit out you have to take the bonnet off and the front bumper off, and I imagine other bits and pieces which I really can't bother with at the moment. So what I've done is with these screws here, I've slackened them off, that one and that one, and pushed the bolt as far back in the hole as it'll go. It's quite a large hole. There's one that I haven't replaced yet, and tighten those down. And with this back one, what you can see there is a penny washer that I've put in between the headlamp and the slam panel here. So that means the back of the headlamp unit is pushed down slightly, therefore pushing the front up slightly. So I'm just going to screw that in and tighten it up and see what difference that has made. Hopefully it's given me enough adjustment. Right then, that's the headlights with them lifted as far as I can get in the slots in the slam panel. Offside unit's still too low, and I think the near side unit's still too low as well, and that's at the maximum lift on the adjuster. So I'm going to pack that back bolt on both units with another penny washer on the near side, another two penny washers on the off side. I was really trying to get the near side lamp up to this row of rivets on the garage door, and then hopefully I'll be able to adjust them down if necessary, but at the moment I've got nowhere to go. So let's give it a go with these washers. It's getting off at 10 o'clock and I still haven't solved the headlamp alignment issue, and I've had enough for today. I'm going to go home and have a look in the Haynes manual and see if I can work out if their headlamp itself, the headlamp shell, is mounted incorrectly, because I know that the headlamps came out for the new lenses to be put in a short while ago, and perhaps they've not gone back in exactly the right place. I've also discovered that the switch on the dashboard, the rotary switch, which allows you to adjust the headlamp alignment for if you've got a load of weight on board, when you twist that, it doesn't make any difference to the headlamp alignment. It doesn't do anything, although there is a whirring sound. Sounds like it's coming from the driver's side front. So it may be that the electric adjuster is set in its highest position or lowest position. I'm not sure which. Whichever one makes it makes the headlamp point downwards. So I need to investigate that as well. So I suppose I'm going to have to come back here tomorrow and take the bumper off, take the bonnet off, take the whole car apart, because it seems that it's all built around the headlamp, and see how I get on. See you tomorrow. Okay, I'm back again, and I've had a look at the Haynes manual, and I've discovered that to get the headlamps out, all you have to do is take off the bonnet and the bumper. All you have to do. So I'm just going to take the bonnet off. I'm going to scribe around the hinges. And I'll do the same on the other side, and then I'll unbolt the bonnet. To lift the bonnet off, it takes two people, so I've got Diane holding the bonnet while I undo the two bolts. Got it? Hold it steady. Lift it back to you. and lift it away. Bumper's held on with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bolts, and they're all M6, so 10mm socket, with the exception of these two here, which are Torx T30, and you also need a Torx T15 to get the mud shield off under here, and a trim clip remover if you got it to get the plastic mud shield off there to get to the 2 bolts underneath. So I've freed all that off, and hopefully I should be able to pull the bumper off now. Headlamp comes out with 4 bolts, the 3 on the top that I was working on yesterday, and then there's another one down the front here next to the bumper mounting. Take those out, and then the headlamp just lifts away, leaving that. And what I found, if I look at the headlamp that I've taken out from the near side, is that one corner of this is quite badly broken. I have tested the electric tilt mechanism, and that seems to be working, which makes me think that the manual adjustment is also working. I'm going to try and repair that, put it back in the car, and see if that cures it. Looking at that damage, I'm wondering whether the car's had a little bump on the front, and that's pushed the bumper in slightly, broken that mounting, so maybe that's had the same effect on the other side. I'll get the other headlight out and then have a look at the slam panel, see if I can see any clues. The other side's not broken, but the bumper mounting is too far down, so this screw here is either that's been pushed up on the back of here, or it's been mounted in the wrong place, but that's causing the plastic to spring there, so that's not sitting properly. I also think that these 2 panels here, where the screw goes for the bumper and headlamp combined mounting, might be pushed in. If it's had a bang on the bumper, that might be what's happened. It's difficult to tell. I think I'm going to tap those out slightly, straighten out the headlamp mountings, and put them back in, see how I get on. I can find nothing obviously wrong with the headlamp adjusters, other than they won't adjust high enough, so all I can assume is that the front of the car's bent. So what I've done is pack up the headlamp slightly in, just going to get the camera in position, in here, in this mounting. I've packed a couple of washers in behind there, and the same on the other side of the car, and I put a longer bolt in here, and underneath here I've put in 2 or 3 washers there, and that's lifted the headlamp sufficiently that I'm now getting at least an even pattern with the 2 units on the door there. That driver side lamp is a lot higher, and the passenger side is slightly higher, and whereas before it was hitting the road right in front of the car, it's not as bad as it was. So I'm going to go with that, put the bumper back on, put the bonnet back on, send it back for its MOT. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, I fixed the broken headlamp with a bit of a bodgery bracket in here, an L-shaped bracket out of some bits and pieces that I found. Fixed that part to that part, so that's good and rigid now, it's not going anywhere. Well, that's the car back together. It's now stupid o'clock, but I think that's okay. If it's not, then I don't know how to fix it. We'll see what the MOT man says, and I'll let you know in the next video. Hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, please leave a comment, and please subscribe to my channel, and that might spur me on to make another film. Thanks a lot then, bye bye.